Coach Jack in the building, bringing voice to the game, breaking down the plays, not just stats, wisdom in the name. Kenwood pride on the mic and hot takes, everything gets real. From locker room talk to the culture on the block, Dos Migos Network, yeah, we never gonna stop. Unfiltered.
What's good, folks? It's your man, Coach Jack. Welcome to another episode of What's Going On in Sports with yours truly. Exciting week in sports, and we got a lot to unpack here. So, dig it. My man, Big Tony's in studio with me today, and we're going to have us a good-ass conversation, man. A lot of stories to unpack. Some things light, a little bit light, and then some things a little heavier. But we're going to unpack it all and have this conversation, and I encourage you guys to tap in with us, put your comments in, you know what I mean, and interact with us as we get through this episode. First things first, thank you for all your likes, comments, shares, follows, and everything like that. Every bit of support that we get here on this platform is much appreciated. Again, we're in our infancy stages, and I thank you guys for bearing with me as we continue to try to upgrade the show myself and Dos Migos Network, who work tirelessly behind the scenes to give you this visual each and every week of the audios and everything like that. Guys, tap in with us. DosMigosNetwork.com. It's a real thing, guys. Tap into the website now. You know what I mean? You can catch each episode, go back and recap and catch the things that you did not get the week before. I'm telling you. And there's going to be a whole lot of surprise things. We got interviews with your favorite athletes locally, some mainstream even. We got a lot of things in the works, a lot of irons in the fire. So stay tuned and keep rocking with us. We greatly appreciate it. Last but certainly not least, I want to personally thank Big Tony because, again, sometimes things get a little difficult, but we have just a simple conversation, dot the I's, cross the T's, and get back to the forefront. These types of projects only work when you have two people that are willing, or multiple people in this case, because this is an entire group effort, multiple people who have the mindset to willingly put aside whatever personal issues to come for the greater good, to put forth the best product person. So I personally wanted to thank you for that, Big Tony. So let's hop into this, man. NFL trade deadline is over. I'm not gonna say I'm not a happy camper. Things could be better. I'll just start by saying that. I feel like the Dallas Cowboys basically won the trade deadline, if I'm being honest. Like, if it was a thing of competing, they put their team in a much more favorable position to win now with their pickups. The Dallas Cowboys land former Jets defensive tackle Quinnen Williams and former Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson. Top five. These guys are a top three. The Dallas Cowboys are top three offense. And the problem is why their record doesn't reflect that is the fact that their defense can't seem to stop anybody. So just as many points as they score, they're giving up just as many points. You know what I mean? They ended a 40-40 draw with the Green Bay Packers, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Like, if your offense is scoring with a high output in that much of a volume, you should be able to at least come in and stop them. So I think that the fans were also upset more so, for letting Micah Parsons get out the door and not having a good pass rush to come in. So, signing Jadeveon Clowney, yeah, that's a Band-Aid. And that's no disrespect or slight to Jadeveon Clowney. It's just like, he's not going to wreck a game for you. So bringing in somebody like Quinnen Williams, who's still in his prime and also, an effective game wrecker, I think that helps you be in a more favorable position within your defense. Also, adding Logan Wilson to show up at your linebacker position. I'm not saying that these two guys are going to come and rewrite the ship right now, but they're certainly going to make Dallas's defense a lot more competitive to help their offense out.
So with that, do you trust Dak going all the way and finishing and winning the Super Bowl? I don't see him performing well in the playoffs. Some people just can't perform in the playoffs. They're great regular season. He's good at regular season, but what do you think about that? Because you just said all the good additions that came to Dallas, and they're looking like a favor, but I don't trust that.
So here's the thing. Every dog has his day, and I do believe people can change. I think people can turn over new leaves. That's the real thing. The Dallas Cowboys have a top 5 offense. In fact, they're third ranked in offense. But again, their record doesn't reflect that, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's a thing because the defense can't stop anybody. I think this year, Dak has been his most consistent, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a Dallas fan. I don't follow Dallas But what I will say about Dak is like a roller coaster, you know, up and down, up and down, up and down. So to your point, that's a fair assessment.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is the year that like he's shown he's more precise as a quarterback. He's a hell of a lot more poised than we're used to seeing him. He hasn't made as many mistakes as we were accustomed to seeing Dak make. You know what I mean? And I think that the woes that we see the Dallas Cowboys offense make are definitely not, because I mean, at the end of the day, you can put the ball right on the receiver. You got to catch. CeeDee Lamb has to catch the ball. Pickens has to catch the ball. What's the other one? I think it's Pearson. Like their receiving core, you have to catch the ball. That's not on him. You know what I mean? The offensive line, they're doing well enough to the point that they're third ranked in offense. But I've seen their offensive line be better. But they're doing well enough for them, obviously, for them to be the third ranked offense. But again, when you're not getting as many possessions as to maximize on the game. Again, you're third ranked, and I feel like your defense has to stop somebody. So it comes down to possessions. If your defense can't seem to take the ball away, intercept the ball or stop the other team from scoring, then you're doing the offense a disservice, because they literally have to go and score every single drive. Which, yeah, you want to see from your offense. But again, it ain't always favorable when you're playing against a team who actually has a defense that can slow your offense down. So now you're trading 3s for 7s. Now they're getting 7s, and maybe you might be lucky and come away with a field goal. So again, to my before stated point, I think that Dak is better. I think that meaning the Dallas Cowboys, can go into the playoffs and be effective this year. I think he's kind of over that hump of being snake bitten and then fumbling when it counts. I think he's over that hump. I think he's proven that he's a hell of a lot more. This is like year 9 or something like that for him. So, I mean, it might be longer than that. I'm not sure. But he's a seasoned vet, and I think, like, he's over those woes now. I think it comes down to, like, the Dallas defense has to get on the field and actually stop someone from scoring to give them the fighting chance. So, yeah, that's my take on them. I just, seeing what they added, I think that they got the best of everything that everybody else got. The Jets also traded away Sauce Gardner to the Colts. Again, same situation. The Colts are top 5 offense. They're number 2 in offense. But again, they can't stop nobody. So again, adding a Sauce Gardner, I mean, they've been horrible in the secondary. You know what I mean? So bringing another young DB in who's also in his prime, who can affect the game. And now, some people didn't agree with that. They're like, had to be something wrong with him if the Jets let him go. I don't think it's that. I think the Jets are in total rebuild mode right now, if you ask me. Aaron Glenn just getting in. I think he's trying to rewrite the ship. And if you ask me, also, to be totally fair, why they traded away Quinn Williams and Sauce Gardner, which are 2 premier talents, they also win because what they have in draft capital is unreal. So they got a bunch of picks to sit on. So I'm looking at roughly, like, in the next 2 seasons, 2 to 3 seasons, the Jets should be making a turnaround in terms of talent and being good again. You know what I mean? Like, at least a team that's not, like, in the basement every year in their division. But I digress. I think that the Colts are definitely going to be better adding a piece like Sauce Gardner, because it gives your defense another component to be good. Because, I mean, DeForest Buckner is like a lone star in that defense as a defensive pass rusher. He can't do it all, though. You know what I mean? He can't be everywhere at once. So, again, I think, like, building in levels. Now, again, I'm not saying he's going to be the total change. I'm not saying they're going to go out to Sunday and beat the world. That's not what I'm saying. But he will make a significant difference.
So who you think had who chose the worst deal? Like
getting to that, I'm going to say it's us. It's us. This is the part where I get really, really critical of my team, because a few weeks ago we got Alohi Gilman at safety. We let go of Dafi Owe to go to the LA Chargers, and he's paying off well for them. You know what I mean? We got Alohi Gilman. He had a great game versus the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football last week, and I applaud him. You know what I mean? He had a good strip to a fumble, and fumble recovery in that game, and that's great. You know what I mean? That's instant impact and stuff like that. Now, is that a long-term solution to our defensive problem? Like, our defense has been bad this year. You know what I mean? Like, really, really bad. And it's no disrespect to Alohi Gilman. You know what I mean? I just feel like they may have been other options. He's a good fix for now, is what I'm saying. Moving forward long-term, you want to get somebody in there that's all, like, we have one all-pro in our secondary in, Kyle Hamilton. And from what they're saying is, like, he compliments him. again, for now it's working. What happens when it doesn't? And not saying that I wish the bad on our defense. Of course not, you know. I'm just saying, like, we don't go out and try to land the big fish.
Right. Because there's still a lot of games left.
Absolutely. We have plenty of time to and thankfully that we have this patch in our schedule where it is, I'm not going to say easy. I'm never going to say easy. It's favorable. We should win these games. But this is our team, and we, like, I'm one of those Ravens fans. I fully recognize where we have our low lights. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to sit here and act like we don't have these issues. So, again, they are favorable. Start with Minnesota on Sunday. You know what I mean? We got Minnesota. They have a decent pass rush. Our offense got to stop them, whatever the case is. So, it's like Lamar coming off a hamstring injury. Do you want him running around for his life? You know what I mean? You want him to be able to sit in the pocket comfortably and throw the ball. Then on the defensive side of the ball, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's JJ McCarthy starting. You're not really afraid of him, but it's just like our defense is still bad. It's like you want them to rise to the occasion and be good. But it's just like things that should be routine for us generally have not been, hence our record being what it is. And us having our shovels and dig ourselves out of this deficit.
But the Ravens fan, you know, they feel frustrated. I see a lot of frustrated Ravens fans, but I see a lot of people making jokes of it in between. So
I mean, it is. It is.
Are y'all just joking because, you know, like, okay, we're going to be good at the end of the season, or you guys really worried?
I can speak for Jack, and I know I'm not alone in this tape. I am worried as a Ravens fan because, again, so let me get this. At the trade deadline, the only move that we made was Dre'Mont Jones from the Tennessee Titans, who coming in the door is our best pass rusher. He has more sacks and pressures than anybody on our defensive line. Salute to that guy. But again, is this a long-term fix? The problem that Ravens fans, such as myself, have is in our front office, like Eric DeCosta, you don't go out and try to get the big fish. Like, we hold on to this draft capital. And draft capital is valuable. I don't want to understate and undermine the value in having draft picks. But again, we have a team that's currently constructed to go and win now. You always got a shot when you got 8. Point blank. You always got a shot when you got L-Jack, man. When Lamar Jackson is in the lineup, you have a shot to win and be great. But my thing is this, and none of these things that we address the offensive line. That's our biggest problem on offense. We did nothing at the trade deadline. You know what I mean? And there were plenty of guys we could have gave up some draft picks to make sure our offense can continue the success.
Now, can you draft a good offensive lineman, or is that somebody that needs to be built in like a season or two?
No, you can absolutely. That's a case-by-case thing. You have some guys that that are NFL ready. You absolutely can draft guys like them. Yes, you can. But then you have some guys that come in, they draft off potential that, like, you know, he played in this system, and let's just take Alabama, just to name, throw a squad there. Oh, this guard played at Alabama in this system, pro style, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So they get draft grades. So they talk about what you did well and then what you do not so well. If there are more things on your list that you do well than not doing so well, that's the person that they'll still roll the dice on and draft to develop. You're more likely to get, you know, from a school like Alabama or let's say like LSU, somewhere like that, you know, you're more likely to get guys that are ready to jump right in. Or those schools, big schools like they have linemen like Iowa, Nebraska, stuff like that. Like they breed Oregon. I'm tripping Oregon. Like there's so many good linemen that come on. So yeah, you can absolutely draft a good lineman. But to my point is this: that is the value of having those draft picks. But again, when you look at your immediate team needs, that's the point of trade deadline and free agency. Go and get the guy that is good enough now. So I was specifically with the trade deadline because that's what we're talking about. In the trade deadline, you have a team that may have a guy at this position that could suit us right now that they're saying, i.e., look at the Jets. The Jets are not in contention for anything right now. So their cupboards are kind of full, and it's like, you know, Quinnen Williams he probably wants to play for a contender, you know what I mean, right now. Let's go ahead and roll the dice and go get Quinnen Williams right now because he would like this situation far better than he would like that one. You know what I mean? And he would help our team immediately. That's what the Ravens are not doing. And I think that's the problem that we have as fans with our front office. That's not to say that Dre'Mont Jones isn't a good pickup. But again, is that a long-term solution? We're trying to win now. So again, you're looking beyond, you know, if we get back in the job and see and dig ourselves, let's just say, you know, well, like I have no doubt in my mind at this point, yeah, we're going to be a playoff team. Like you'd asked me that a couple of episodes ago. Hell no, I don't think so. You know what I mean? But like I said, we've seen that we have a little bit more control with the offense. We look a little more comfortable now, to be fair. That was against Chicago and that was against Miami. You know what I mean? But as we run through the gauntlet and climb the ladder, let's see do we keep getting better? Do our point totals keep going up? These are the things that we're going to look to see if these things pay off.
Yeah, because people be, I got to speak for the foreigners. Some of us be watching the Ravens, be like, what's going on with this team? They got this guy, and he's supposed to be one of the best guys, and, they talk about him so well every year. This is what I hear from my mom.
Yeah.
Every year. Just like, what's going on with the team? I said, I don't follow the Ravens as much now. I can tell you more about the Ravens. I can tell you something about the Steelers, but yeah, now I can tell them more about the Ravens.
So
that they're falling because it's front office. So every time she asks me something, what's going on? I say, Mom, it's front office.
So too, that's a very important point there too, because you mentioned the fans. You have fans that have mixed emotions on it,
Mm-hmm.
and you have fans that are nothing more than fans, and that's okay. I'm not slighting those people. They're just fans. So you just you're emotionally attached to your team. You just want to see them win. So they're upset, but they're not knowing how the inner workings of how trades work, for, free agency and play. They don't understand the behind the scenes stuff. They don't understand that. So again, when they give an angry take, be like, "Oh, our team is just trash," or "We're bummed. We got bums and all that stuff." That's not always the case. Now, for the people that do know, as they say, if you know, you know.
Yeah.
You have people such as myself who understand, the X's and O's part on the field,
Mm-hmm.
and then the business side of it as well,
Mm-hmm.
and can kind of educate those who don't know on it. So that's why you kind of get the mixed feedback from the fan base.
So what I've been hearing since we've been doing these shows is that Ravens X's and O's with their coaches off and their front office is off.
Yes, that is a fact. That is definitely a fact. But fully optimistic, we're going to turn these things around. The desired outcome, I'm not going to, because I don't want to say it out loud. I'm kind of superstitious in that regard. I don't want to say it out loud. I want to believe in my heart, and this is my heart talking, I want to believe that my team can, make our way to Santa Clara come, February. I want to believe that, right? But the reality, the realist in me is let's get over this hump first. Let's get through the season. Let's stack up these wins. Let's try to run the table even. You know what I mean? Let's see if we can from this point on and just win out. But yeah, that's just one of those hard things. But I will say, all in all, let's start with Minnesota. Let's get this dub. I'm predicting that we beat Minnesota, not by a large margin. I would like to believe that, but again, I just want to see how our offensive line responds to their pass rush, which is fairly decent. I will say that. So I'll say score prediction. I'll say another 4 touchdowns. I'm gonna say 28. I'm gonna say 28-21. Our defense is, you just don't know what defense is gonna show up. So, to be fair and be honest with myself, they know that we have been struggling. Stranger things happen where we think we got a game in the bag and then we just let a team hang around. So I'm gonna say 28-21. I think we pull it out, 4 touchdowns to their 3. Or maybe even 28-17.
So with you predicting the scores be that low, I'm gonna go do some good under bets for real, because it's not gonna sound like it's gonna be a shootout type of game. No big numbers in that game. No big, not a lot of 100-yard receiving, 100-yard rushing type of thing going on.
Man, I will say this. I think we will get 100 yards rushing. Our offense, not
in total, but not one specific player.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is good for it, but again, like I said, I don't know what it is about Minnesota. They're a middle of the pack team, but it's they seem to just show up when it counts, but you just never can count them out. And I hate that about our team, because we're the team that you expect to come in there and be like Thanos and snap the finger and they erase them, but it just hasn't been our year to do that. So again, to be totally fair and honest with myself, I see us putting up the 4 scores. You know what I mean, the 28 points, and I think Derrick Henry gets close to 100 yards, but I don't think he's going to get 100 yards. I don't. I think we're going to spread the ball around. I think everybody's going to get a piece of it. It's going to be a total team effort for that 28 points. You know what I mean? It's going to come down to some key stops, but I don't think we're going to stop them as much as we would like to. So that's my prediction for Fire Game.
I heard I heard Lamar Jackson mom saying he need to run more, right? With that, does he focus on throwing the ball, or does he like, okay, I'm gonna make some run plays myself, or I need to run sometimes in a game? Like,
So that's hard to say. So here's the thing. We know Lamar has immense running talent. We know that.
yeah,
We know that dude can be the most dangerous escape artist that we've ever seen.
yeah,
But by design, because again, I think due to the fact or lack of our offensive line being consistent where it breaks down, sometimes he has to improvise and get out the back door. I think that if he had a clean pocket most of the times, he would do exactly what we know he can do. Because again, I hate how the media covers him and they try to relegate him to just being a running quarterback when he proves time and again that he can actually pass. But again, I think a large part of what we see when he has to run. Now, that's barring a design run, obviously, because we do have some design runs in the playbook. Sometimes he has to improvise where, Father Lele is just screwing up. You know what I'm saying? Rosengarten is screwing up. Or whomever the lineman is having, even some cases, Ronnie Stanley, you know what I mean? We expect our offensive line to keep him upright, let him be in the pocket, step up in the pocket and deliver the ball like we know he can. But that's not always ideal for us. So I think that's more so what we've seen. So to say what his focal point is, that's hard to tell, but I highly would doubt that he goes into a game thinking like, yeah, I'm going to run for 100 yards. He's a quarterback, and he wants to throw the ball because he can throw the ball. You know what I mean? So that's what I believe. I don't think he goes into any game with the intent of, yeah, I'm going to run all over him today. I just think he just has that ability, and that shows up sometimes because of what he has protecting him in terms of the alignment. You know what I mean? Shouts out to the Ravens offensive line. I'm hard on y'all, but y'all need to get y'all shit together, bro. Like, that's a real thing. I just need to. But moving on, man. Next topic. NBA, man. Listen, the NBA is back, and y'all know me. I'm a LeBron guy, and my guy has not been on the court at all this season.
Sick up man of the year.
Yeah. So we got this inside joke here at What's Going On in Sports, and Tony been saying like, LeBron should be the sixth man. He should come off the bench. Largely in part to the fact that the Lakers are doing well without him. Now, what I was saying, we talked about this a little off camera. I believe that LeBron is doing a lot behind the scenes to help contribute to their success now. If you look at the Lakers' current roster as constructed, I got to give huge kudos to JJ Redick as a coach, because if you look at the makeup of this roster, just to name a few. So obviously, we got Luka and Bron. Bron hasn't played all year. Luka's been in and out of the lineup. And they have a collection of specific talent. Austin Reeves, Jake LaRavia, DeAndre Ayton, Rui Hachimura, Marcus Smart, Jarrett Vanderbilt, Jackson Hayes, Nick Smith Jr., of course, Bronny James, Dalton Neach. Like, just to name a few on that roster, like, none of these guys are guys that you feel like could go to another franchise and be a starter. Everyone has a specific role as to, how the lineups look, and they differ from game to game. On Sunday, they beat the Miami Heat 130-120. Luka had a triple-double in that game, 29, 10, and 11. Austin Reeves had 26 points, 11 assists, 4 rebounds. Jake LaRavia added another 25 points, 8 boards, 3 assists. You know what I mean? Like, specific role stuff. Jake LaRavia, you don't expect him, and he's coming off the bench, by the way. You don't expect these guys to come in and just take over a game or make heavy contributions. And that's the point that I'm making. Like, JJ Redick understands the personnel that he has to put him in positions for the Lakers to thrive. On Monday, they beat the Blazers 123-115. DeAndre Ayton had 29 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Rui Hachimura, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Nick Smith Jr., 25. That was the Spurs game. But again, the Blazers game, DeAndre Ayton being the bell cow, Rui Hachimura being the Robin.
Yeah.
So again, JJ Redick understanding this is what I have on my roster. This is how I'm going to use them. That's how they're going to match up well versus the Blazers. You do this, you do that. Again, that's without LeBron. That's without Luka. You know what I'm saying? Austin Reeves being in this particular case, he was the third option, or you know what I mean? It's like using your roster to your advantage game by game. That's genius to me. Then they go on Wednesday night. And they played the Spurs. They won 118-116. Luka, 35 points, 13. He definitely flirted with a triple-double. 35 points, 13 assists, 9 rebounds. One more rebound, he got another triple-double.
I thought he was going to get that.
Yeah. DeAndre Ayton, 22 points, 10 boards. Marcus Smart, 17 points, 5 and 5. Rui Hachimura, 15 points. Again, understanding the role players. Shouts out to Fox. Man, Fox joked, Marcus Smart used to play for his team with the Celtics. And, you know, Fox was saying Marcus Smart is a bum. And I told him I just don't believe that. Like, the way that most sports, if we've been honest, most sports are played now. Everybody has specific roles. Everybody wants to go with the scientific way to win games, the more strategic way, which is, I mean, technically that's what you're supposed to do. But like in basketball specifically, like you have role players. They bring you to a team to do one specific thing. If you're a great defender, you're gonna have to sacrifice the fact that, yeah, you can score, but we don't need you to do that because we got scores. We need you to lock up this guy. Or if you are a scorer, we know that you can defend. But right now, we feel like he's a better defender. He's going to lock up the best player. We need you to focus on getting these buckets. So it's like, you know, everything is role player friendly. You know what I mean? That's the epitome of what the Lakers are showing right now. So I definitely got to give that credit to JJ Redick as a coach. Now to LeBron.
Yeah, LeBron.
This is what I honestly believe. Just seeing how his career is, he's done a lot of things that none of the, you know, greats before him have done in terms of on the court and off the court. But I think when we think about LeBron and his longevity, the one thing that everybody always says about him, including the legends, his brain, his mind. That's what's between his ears, like LeBron from the neck up is a one of one. He never played for a Hall of Fame coach like Kobe and Jordan, and you know what I'm saying? He never had the legendary coach. He came from high school. He didn't have a college coach or college pedigree. And it's like you come in, you can recall the game, you know where everybody, he's one of the greatest facilitators the game has ever seen. I refuse to believe that, like, you know, he's just nursing an injury and just twiddling his thumbs. I think that he and JJ Redick, and they're good friends off the court. I think that's like a public note as well. I think that behind the scenes, he's helping him to maneuver, you know, the lineups from game to game and telling them what, you know, what to look at and what to see, what you're going to counter. This is how you're supposed to go with Wembanyama. What, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, whatever intel Braun has, there's no doubt in my mind that he's giving this intel to the remainder of the team to help them have the success that they're getting, that we're witnessing right now. And again, it's early in the season, but it's just like, think about this. Without LeBron and Luka, do you really expect the Lakers to be successful with the lineup without LeBron and Luka in it? You know what I mean? Nobody, we know Austin Reeves can play, but did you truly expect Austin Reeves to carry the team as he has been doing?
I think he wants to. I think he wants that position. You know, and everybody do want that position, and he's been balling out. Austin Reeves definitely has been balling out, but LeBron has longevity. You know, he's proven and he can give it guaranteed, and you know he's going to give you those points. You know, I just joke about him being sixth man of the year coming off the bench, but just keep his energy up. Nurse that injury, because Hachimura is a good player. I love Hachimura, but he's not it. You know, I've seen Luka threw him the ball and Hachimura threw the ball away. When LeBron threw the ball away, he's throwing it to somebody in a better position. I've seen Hachimura not take the shot correctly. You know, a lot of his shots are just, when it's forced, he take the shot knowing he, you know, it's 50-50. He's not that confident in his shot. You know, he's still young, but he can't replace LeBron on that team. So neither him nor Austin Reeves can replace LeBron in the role. And, you know, Luka is a great player, but like I said, LeBron pretty much designed that team, you know, to manage and work when he's not working, because, you know, come playoffs, that's where you want.
So, I mean, theoretically, it is not a bad idea. Now, we know I don't believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But theoretically, if you understand basketball, you know what I mean, you have a basketball IQ, it's not a bad move to make LeBron the sixth man. It's not.
No.
I mean, it makes perfect basketball sense for him to come off the bench. Now, here's my thing. With the team, and it's still early in the season to be totally fair, but with the team sustaining without you, and we're not talking about like they're in games, they have the stretches where, think about it, without LeBron and Luka, and they still have to get a rest during the game. So for the minutes that they're not playing, they're on the bench. And the guy behind them, so now we're talking about the third option being on the floor with the ones, and they're still sustaining leads. That says a lot about your roster. So my thing is, you've proven that you can go into your bench and sustain against premier teams like the Spurs. The Spurs had the best record in basketball, you know what I mean? So, again, when you look at that and you put it in perspective, theoretically, like, as a basketball fan and understanding how it goes, theoretically, it does make sense that he could come off the bench and be the sixth man. Yeah, I think it will kind of fortify the Lakers at this juncture because, again, down the stretch, as you mentioned, in the playoffs and stuff like that, you can kind of plug and play, with your lineup according to who you have. Because by this point, you'll have, and in game counts as experience and reps that you're taking during the regular season. Now, we know the pressure that comes with the playoffs, obviously, but you're going to have to go with your bell cows, the guys who have been there in the trenches with you throughout the season. So, again, theoretically, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, as much as we joke about it, I think, like,
So
when you really think about it, it does make sense. So
it does make sense a little bit, but theoretically, too, if he goes the 6-man route, how long you think he's going to play? How many years? 4 years? You think he has value in 4 or 5 years being a bench player on other teams?
it does, because, like, at this point, right now, he's still a valuable option, but you got to be honest, he's not your first option. Like, he's not slowing down, but that's still LeBron. I'm going to put some respect on his name. That's still LeBron. But what I'm saying is like, I don't know if there's a market for people who want to come in to deal with, like, what entails comes with LeBron, bringing him there, that your roster now changes. You're not just adding LeBron, you're also altering your roster, because a guy that might have had this role before, bringing in somebody like LeBron, now changes what this guy does. So, again, I think, his role definitely changes, but I guess the question comes down to LeBron's willingness to continue to be and serve in that role.
Because if he's healthy, like if he come back to good health and he doesn't have any injuries and he can play to a high performance like he used to.
Because of the lack of physicality in most sports now, you're seeing the rise in players that are playing into older ages. I.e., the Tom Brady's of real 43 or 40, however old he was when he stopped playing. You know what I mean? You got guys in their 40s playing. The Denver Broncos just signed Mercedes Lewis. He's 41, playing tight end in the NFL. It's, stuff like that. You kind of hurt. You know what I mean? But my point is when you have longevity of and you take care of your body properly, like wise coach say, you take care of your body take care of you, and that's proven to be true. In LeBron's case, when you look at it. So again, I think if serving in that role, if he was a 6-man, let's say, hypothetically, I think that does put more years on his career. Now, does he want to play that long? I don't know. The jury's still out on that. But
how old was
Vince Carter?
Yeah,
Vince Carter. Yeah, another guy I played once. So I don't know exactly, but I know he was older than 41. That's something I would have to Google that fact, but I definitely know he was over 40, playing with the Atlanta Hawks. And it's crazy. Like, people were mad at Vince for that, because they're like, oh man, he taking him a roster spot for a younger guy and all this kind of stuff. Now, this is a different situation altogether. Vince Carter,
43.
He was 43?
Yeah, when he retired, 43.
So here's what I find funny. At 43, clearly he's better than somebody. I don't think he was just getting the spot because he was Vince Carter. I think he was still proving that he got game. And he's
on his 40 right now.
You know what I'm saying?
He turned 41 December 30th.
So again, yes, I think that adds more time if he serves in that capacity. Absolutely.
So 45, you think he could rock 45?
I believe it's possible. I will say 45 is realistic and possible, considering that, like, okay, now he's nursing an injury right now, and then on top of that, with like load management, we seeing that's a real thing now because of how they play now. I don't know how all this stuff goes or whatever. Some agree with it, some don't. But I think between those two things, the way they take his body and the load management with that combination, and if he is coming as a 6-man, meaning he's not a full-time starter, I think that adds significant time to his career where he could be able to play at a decent level and still be a key contributor to a team.
All right, one more thing before I stop messing with you.
Okay,
brother. He go to 45. You think he gonna go in the Olympics one last time?
Absolutely not. The country's trying to. Now, I will say this: we have a lot of good ballers in the league that are young, up and coming, that I think that they could handle it. I think the dynamic is going to change again. Like I said, all our guys that we witnessed this last gold medal, none of those guys are going back. Well, maybe like Devin Booker. I could see Devin Booker, Jason Tatum. Maybe he's still relatively young. You know what I mean? Guys like that. But like Bron, Steph, KD, them guys, that's finito, baby. That's done. So I don't think, you know what I mean? Like it would be impressive. It is just like, go ahead, man, go ahead. Like that type of thing. If it was, I doubt it. But I get it. For nostalgia purposes, like, oh yeah, LeBron on the Olympic team at 45. That probably not. But now, Speaking of our aging veterans that we definitely want to give credit to, sticking in the basketball vein, Russell Westbrook need more respect on his name.
Mm-hmm.
That man need more respect on his name. In year 18, playing for the Sacramento Kings, this dude is a walking triple-double.
Yeah.
And let's be clear, all the people that was like talking bad about Westbrook, you know, his stint with the Lakers, calling him Westbrook and all that kind of stuff, he's a different kind of guard. Let's put that out there. One of my absolute favorite players to watch all time, next to Allen Iverson, for obvious reasons. Allen Iverson is most certainly a real one. Like, you know,
I watched Iverson too. I remember Iverson having the brick season too.
Yeah. But my thing is this, you know, Iverson has been one of those guys, like, he's just a real one. He's him all the time. He's comfortable in the skin. He don't care about the media, what they talking about, the opinions of him. His job is to go out there and give you a great basketball effort and put up numbers. And when I see Russell Westbrook, I see a lot of AI and Russell Westbrook, not in terms of like similarity in game or game.
Not exactly heart.
I'm talking about, like, yeah, exactly. Heart, how he's like the veracity on how he finished at the rim. He mad aggressive. He like almost like a child having fun on the court. He don't care about them cameras and all that kind of stuff. He ain't putting no airs. He's always Brody. He's always Russ. Like, that's him. He needs more respect on his name. The other night, had a triple-double on Wednesday, 23, 10, and 16. Then November 3rd, he scored 26 points, 12 rebounds. That dude has 204 career triple-doubles.
I think the Knicks owner is more excited than anybody else. Have you been seeing him at the game? Like, Knicks are going crazy with that team. That team is amazing, bro. If you look at all the people don't think of, but that team is like.
I think you're saying, you mean the Kings. That's what he plays for, the Kings.
The Kings. Yeah. Kings. I'm sorry.
I got you. I get it, K. I get it. But yes, what I'm saying is this: that's what he brings, that excitement. So dig it. In terms of his resume, which is why I said they definitely need to put more respect on his name. Russell Westbrook has as many scoring titles as Kobe. He won a scoring title in 14-15 and 16-17 season. Kobe in 04 and 05, and I think 06-07, I believe. He has more 50-point games than Shaq. And one of them was in a 50-point triple-double. But Shaq has 3 in his career. Mm-hmm. We all know about the legendary 2020 game. After Nipsey Hussle passed away, you know, if anybody knows anything about Russell Westbrook's connection, being a West Coast guy, LA guy, and what Nipsey meant to that community, on April 2nd, 2019, Russell Westbrook went on the court and he put up a 20-point, 20 rebound, 21 assist game. And the connection to that, and this speaks to how much of a real one he is. So we know anything about the history of Nipsey Hussle, he was a rolling 60s crip. 20 plus 20 plus 20 is what? You know what I mean? So, I mean, to go out and pay that kind of tribute to a hood legend and from your hood, you know what I mean? Like, that embodies you being a real one. It's like, yo, how can I, you know, pay my respects to this person by doing this in my profession? So again, I just think that we definitely need to give, from an attitude standpoint, a character standpoint alone, I've never not seen Russell Westbrook, good or bad, not be who he is. You know what I'm saying? But again, to read off his accomplishments, like I said, 204 triple doubles, most ever all time. With 204. The next closest behind him is the big O, Oscar Robertson, with 181. Nikola Jokic, the Joker, with 169. Magic Johnson with 138. Braun with 122. And J. Kidd with 107. That is pretty impressive company, and you are leading the pack, sir. So salute to you for that, man. Westbrook is my guy, and I think that, like, people definitely need to put some respect on his name because what he's doing is nothing short of amazing, and I really, really hope the Kings have some success with this guy. He can ultimately, and another thing, the point about you bringing up LeBron coming off the bench. He's coming off the bench for the Kings,
and he's doing a great job coming off the bench, and he's been taking some great roles in the previous teams as well.
For sure.
And the Kings got a squad, but I think they need more. They need bigger guys. But they got a lot of good shooters. I was watching the team. I was like, man.
I think they had the right mesh of veteran guys because DeMar DeRozan plays on that team as well.
Yeah.
They have a good mesh of veteran guys as well as young guys.
Barrett, Schroeder, Zach LaVine,
Yeah.
all guys who can
Yeah.
put it up. If they all get together under the right mind state, they can upset some stuff.
Yeah, they've been a playoff team. So I mean, like I guess only the future is going to tell what they can become. And I think with somebody like Russ in that locker room, I think that kind of helps balance them out. So let's just wait and see. But shouts out to I definitely want to mention that because I mean that's hella impressive. So shouts out to them. So getting into the next topic, man, the NCAA coaches versus the media. Now, I've been a coach. I understand the immense pressure that coaches are under to perform and lead your team. I know what it takes to kind of build out your roster and, have the right set of X's and O's and also have great fellow coaches in to call, offense and defense if you're not doing it yourself. It takes a really, really good brain trust to make sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed in terms of your team's overall performance. This was a big news story. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, is in the news because the Colorado fan base, well, some of them, not all of them, are calling for this dude's head. They're calling for his job. In the last 2 weeks, the Colorado Buffaloes have taken 2 ugly losses, one from Utah and one from Arizona. Utah beat them 53-7, and Arizona beat them 52-17. And the thing is, okay, I'm going to speak from 2 perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
As a coach, I understand. No, I have not coached at the NCAA level. I believe that coaching is all the same because you have the same responsibilities. Prime just has more because, again, what he does behind closed doors, they're still trying to bring cameras into it. So they can pull up and question you, and it's going to be running on Facebook and X and all that kind of stuff for weeks, and they're going to make tweets about it to talk all type of shit about you, which I do think in some cases is unfair. Now, are the Colorado Buffaloes struggling right now? Absolutely. The Buffaloes right now sit at 3-6. That's their record right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with these 2 back-to-back blowouts, like I totally get it. The one thing I can honestly say that I have seen firsthand, that the world has seen publicly, that Coach Prime ain't ducking no questions. He ain't ducking no media. He's saying what it is. He's also exhibiting the fact of being one of the greatest leaders that football has ever seen because he's allowing all the stones and arrows to be slung directly at him. After the last loss, he mandated that no reports be taken by any of the players or coaching staff. He said, if anybody's going to throw stones and arrows, let them throw them at me. I think that's the mark of a true leader.
Mm-hmm.
I am one of those people who cannot help myself going down the rabbit hole in the comment section. And I don't know why I do this to myself. I sympathize with Coach Prime because there are other teams and coaches that are notable that have a extensive coaching background, and they're also suffering, but they're not getting the same
media attention.
Burn them at the stake from the public. They're not getting that. You know what I mean? And I think because of who he is and the attention that he garners, you know what I mean? I have an immense respect for Deion Sanders and what he does because he's so old school and he believes in the original blueprint and essence of football, which I live by that creed because that's what I was brought up on as a player, as a youngster. I can say that I played for a Coach Roger Wren here, in Baltimore, Maryland, a legendary coach. Rest in peace to Coach Wren. I can say that I played for Coach Wren. I can say that I played for Coach Tate in semi-pro, one of the city's, legendary coaches that garners a lot of respect because of his knowledge of the game. But like the way that his mind works with the game, he's so old school. He respects the game. He's hard. He was hard on you because he cared about you not just being a good football player, but being a good man. Like these things matter to me. Like I understand that because those are the fires that I was forged in. People respect Coach Matthew Steeple in the city because, again, he's a family man. He understands, like, you're more than just a player to me. He cares. Coach, I'm going to say this. I've been set on the bench by Coach Steeple because I wasn't taking some shit seriously. To me, that's bigger than X's and O's. That's far beyond saying, what I am a player. That's like, yo, you don't appreciate it. And if you don't take this opportunity to do this right as a player, if you don't appreciate this, you ain't gonna appreciate things in life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I respect that because he, as a man, told me to my face, like, shorty, you're not ready. You're not doing this. You're not taking it serious. He told me that to my face. You got to respect a dude like that. So, again, when you see coaches like that in the public eye, in the mainstream, like a Deion Sanders, I do think it's unfair. Coach Bill O'Brien, who has a championship pedigree, with a championship pedigree with the New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? In the NCAA with Alabama and Nick Saban, a coach of notoriety.
Well, is Deion Sanders a coach similar to like Jimmy Johnson is what they're looking for? Maybe he needs to start letting heads roll,
So that's the thing. He's been doing that the whole time. So we live in a world.
I don't see him as aggressive as I think he would be or should be. He's
aggressive in what way? You mean as far as like how he coaches the players, or how he is with the staff? Like, specify what you mean.
Both. I thought it was going to be a more
yeah,
in your face. We're going, but he's been, like you say, very class act on the whole thing, and I guess people like me who's calling for differences in him, that's like you said, that's not him. That's not the way he coaches. It's bigger than just football or, getting wins because, people don't understand the totality of everything it takes.
So with that, like, he doesn't always display that publicly, but it's been on record, like, so if you follow his content on like social media, his son, Deion Jr., captures all those moments. So, like, the stuff that, like, the mainstream media may not be picking up, but if you got YouTube, if you got a smartphone, you can look up these things and see how he runs practice. He runs a tight ship. So I don't think, like, you have some coaches that are like, yell, fuss, and cuss, boom, 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 iron fist, pound their chest. You have some coaches like that. Deion exhibits a little bit of that. Then he takes on, like, the fatherly role where it's like, listen, son, you got to do, he's going to sit and have a talk with you and be very transparent with you. Like, we've seen that as well. I think the biggest thing that he's not giving the grace on is the fact that, bro, you're in the middle of Boulder, Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the sexy place to go and play college football. Them kids want to go to Louisiana. Them kids want to go to Alabama. They want to go to Florida. They want to go to California. So my thing is this. In terms of recruiting, they took a dip. Think about it. Your top stars, where all those guys at now? They're in the NFL. Shador, Travis, DeJounte, you know what I'm saying? Like, all them guys, Jimmy Horn, all them guys, they're in the league now. So, again, it's going to take you some time to rebuild. Ain't nobody considering that. Nobody says anything about that. Nope. It's just like, what you hear from the media and the public, Deion's never been a coach. He can't coach. Well, I think Jackson State would disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I would get high school and college ain't the same, just like college and the pros ain't the same. But I think all those programs that he went to, and he been a difference maker everywhere he went, that's like public record. And if you got a brain in your skull, you can clearly see that. Like, the guy understands what it takes from a business aspect and the X's and O's standpoint. It's like, I think that he gets a lot of that disrespect. Now, to the point I was about to make, because I didn't want to cut you off and want you to make your point. Bill O'Brien for Boston College sits at 1-8 right now. Dabo Sweeney from Clemson sits at 3-5 right now. Bill Belichick in North Carolina sits at 3-5 right now. Mario Cristobal sits at 6-2 right now. Now, 6-2 is a decent record, but again, with us dropping games, and I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, go Canes, but we look bad right now. We dropped 2 games that we had in the bag that we should have won due to bad coaching. But I ain't never heard nobody say Mario Cristobal need to be fired. That's the point that I'm making, the difference in it. Ain't nobody saying fire Bill Belichick. Ain't nobody saying fire Dabo Sweeney. Ain't nobody saying fire Bill O'Brien. Their teams are struggling right now for whatever reason. It doesn't matter the reason. My thing is, these are reputable coaches just as much as Deion Sanders. But the fact is, like, publicly, because you don't like his swag or his moxie or whatever it is that you don't like about him publicly, to be like, oh, you're calling for his job, you're calling for his head because the team is struggling. Well, so are those other guys. In recent history, you know what I mean? Everybody been talking about how much they like coach Thomas Hammock. I think Thomas Hammock is a good coach for Northern Illinois. He's a good coach. That team's sitting at 2-6 right now. Ain't nobody like, fire Thomas Hammock. He just went viral for some news clips. They asked him about a player or something. I don't know the full context of it, but long story short, he's a man's man. He's still in business. Like, listen, I'll answer any of your questions, but don't ever try to paint me out to be a liar. You know what I mean? Like, standing up for himself and putting out there like, yo, you going to respect me while you up here. You can ask me questions. I'm not dodging no questions about my about my team. But don't sit up here and make it seem like I'm a lie. You know what I mean? But
Yep.
coaches who stand for something, i.e., like Deion Sanders, in terms of caring about the players beyond, and I cannot stress that point enough, beyond the X's and O's. Like, those are the things that make you a great coach. You know what I mean? So many coaches look at players, it's just like, he just played for me, just next man up. Next man up is a part of it. My thing is this, but I'm giving you the opportunity to be good. Like, people just literally grabbing for straws saying, oh, Deion don't like none of the kids. He told them all that, you gonna put up tape for the portal when he first got there. Like, yo, let's not mistake the truth for hate. Let's not do that. Like, part of being a coach or just a high-level individual period is transparency. Listen, I don't have to hate you to be honest with you. And the truth may not always be favorable. You may not like it, especially when it's about you. Come on, as a human being, let's not act like somebody has never told us something that we did not want to hear about ourselves. That we might already, let's keep that 100 too, that we might have already know. I know that it's certain athletes that I wanted to be on their level in terms of what they did. Like, I can honestly say, be on the side of the dog, I am an athlete. I've played multiple positions on the football field. I'm an athlete. But I know athletes that I can't compete with in terms of ability. I mentioned a few weeks ago, shouts out to Larry Ray. That's probably one of the best athletes I've ever met. Like, I know that guy personally. There are certain things, ability-wise, that he has talents that I cannot do physically. I just can't. But why I'm going to sit there and get up and all and be like, yo, you're not a better athlete than Lil Larry? Why would I get mad at that when that's the truth about me? Some people will actually get mad about that. That's, you know what I call that? That's delusion. That's delusion when you know the truth and you just can't handle it. That's literally what Deion Sanders provides. Like, some of you guys are not going to be able to make the roster because I got guys that's coming in that's going to be better than you at your position, and you're just not going to start over them. But if you want the chance to play, get in the portal. That's the only message that he was sending. That doesn't mean he hates those kids. You don't know those kids to hate them. So again, for calling for a job, I just think that's unfair. And coaches, they get a lot of shit for it. Now, I know I said coaches because the other coaches that I named, they're getting grace because maybe because of who they are. Because again, some people don't look at Deion Sanders as a real coach, which I think is absolutely insane. But some people don't look at him as a real coach. And these other guys are definitely notable coaches. Like I said, the Bill O'Briens, the Bill Belichick's, the Dabo Sweeney's. You know, these guys are coaches and have long tenures and championship pedigree. But you have some people, I'm pretty sure, in their fan base that are tired of seeing them struggle right now, whatever case may be, like, why are we going through this with them? I'm pretty sure you got your few. But ain't nobody calling for their head to say, like, yo, fire them, then you lose their job, or they hate the players, or whatever they're saying. Like, nobody is saying that. And again, with this new landscape of how college football, to harp more on this point, what we're seeing, I love coaches that have a strong philosophy and rooted in something with trying to propel the team. If you can get them to win and succeed in life in terms of just being a good character person, getting them to work harder at being a better person, that automatically makes them a better football player because their character won't allow them to fall short of whatever their responsibilities are on the field. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes,
You know what I mean?
especially,
Yeah.
considering that after football, they have to worry about their real lives.
Absolutely.
And during football, they're in the opportunity to make a lot of money now, and then a lot of cameras on them.
That's the point I'm going to next. Yep. You want it, bro? You want it?
Go ahead. But yeah, that's all I wanted to chime in and say.
Yeah. So a large part of that, I was going to give the reason why, because again, this is not theory, this is fact. Now college athletes are millionaires before the ones that are going to the pros. Before they get to the pros, they're already millionaires because of this NIL and all that kind of stuff. And while I'm one of the ones who have absolutely no issue with the NIL, I do not. Because again, you look at situations of guys who were immensely talented in college and their talent never translated to the pros. You look at the fact that, not so much with them. Think about the guys who might have dealt with a little injury in college and they were never the same again. That young man now never gets to experience what it could have been like to be an NFL star. And he put his blood and sweat and tears on the line for this said university, and he was never compensated for it.
Never.
And that was damaged goods. And like I said, everybody's educational background is not the same. So maybe this guy just knew that he was going to be a certified NFL star or whatever. Maybe he never took education. And I'm not saying nobody should do that. That's not what I'm saying. But this is a real thing that some players in the past have experienced. And so now they have regular blue collar jobs. And I'm not saying there's anything with working a blue collar job, but this is a person that had an immense talent in the NCAA and never got the chance to even scratch the surface on what their talents could have been for whatever reason. So again, I have no problem with the NIL being able to put some money in these young men's families. Some of them have families a little earlier in life than they would like to have had. So now you have to become a man and you're responsible for people, i.e. a child, maybe a wife for those that are married, or a girlfriend if you're in a steady situation. Whatever your case is, you have people that you are responsible for, so you got to work your ass off tirelessly to earn that money. So that's one part of it. Now we have to introduce the transfer portal. Now, I have a huge problem with this because this takes away from the complete quality of the game because no one wants to work hard and develop. That's where the other part comes in at. And coaches get blamed for this because, again, with NIL, these kids getting the money, right? And they feel like, I'm talented, I'm him, I can start right here. Not knowing that when you go to this school, you're a wide receiver, I'm a wide receiver. But as a wide receiver, guess what? You not only are you a junior and you hold all these records and you're doing this big with the team. Now I want to come and get your spot because I was you at another program. But our program ain't winning the national championship. Y'all in the national championship talks every year. So now if you can't beat them, join them. I'm going to come over here now. And then you get there, you think you're going to beat that guy out or playing tandem with him, but it's like you're not getting the minutes that you thought you would get and all that other kind of stuff. Or now I'm about to hit the transfer portal again. And the fact that this is allowed. Now I'm going to say this. Much respect due to Nick Saban. That should tell you that the landscape of college was changing. A legendary college coach like that and pro coach. He had a good little stint in the pros, but the legendary college coach Nick Saban literally retired from coaching because he saw this on the horizon. And it makes sense now. It makes total sense. You can't compete because you can't hold nobody accountable no more because they're so soft, weak in the mind, weak in mentality. And you can't yell at a player no more because it's like, I'm a millionaire too. Who we think he talking to?
Yeah.
Oh, he only got like 1 million national championships. That guy, that coach right there, he only got 1 million national championships. He only coached a bunch of guys that's in the NFL now, and he helped get them there. He's only that guy that you feel like can't tell you shit. You know what I mean? That's literally how a lot of these youngsters think. And again, the landscape has changed so much because you have NIL, so now they're getting some money.
Yeah.
Added with the fact that, cool, if I can't get what I want here, I'm going to go somewhere until I get what I want. I'm going to throw a tantrum for 4 to 6 years. Now it's more guys staying for over 4 years than ever before. The Bo Nicks of the world staying a little bit longer. Dylan Gabriel staying a little bit longer. Like, it's crazy that these guys are staying.
Bo Nix looks crazy on TV.
Yeah, but I mean,
who's this old man?
But here's my thing. From a development standpoint, I get it. Cool, I get it. But what I'm saying is, you didn't hear about Bo Nix cussing out a coach like, yo, who do you think you talk to? Yo, I'm going to transfer to this school. Like, it's guys that's bouncing from school to school. I cannot remember the young man's name, but he was a receiver that hit the transfer portal to get to Colorado. This was last season or season before, I can't remember. But so he hit the transfer portal to get to Colorado, and he sucked in the classroom. And Deion wasn't trying to put it out there publicly, but I think the story was he went on Twitter basically like bashing Coach Prime, and then somebody in the press asked him a question in regards to that player, and Deion just put it out there like, yo, he and his son in the classroom. That means more to, if I'm a parent, I'm going to shake that man hand and thank you because my son think he know it all.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I can't get through it to him like, yeah, he got talent, but again, talent ain't going to get you. Talent can only get you to where you need to go, but it ain't going to keep you there. And that's the other thing is this. Work ethic is one of those things. It's not like a light switch. You got to work hard at this every day. You got to be routine in this every day. I got to read this many books every day. I got to look at this every day. I got to study this every day. I got to do this. Whatever it takes to build you up in whatever your arena of operation is, you got to work at that every day. It ain't going to be like, you know what, just because I'm leaving here and going to Colorado, I'm going to work hard when I get to Colorado. No, if you weren't working hard there, you ain't going to work hard here.
For sure not.
So, again, you just have a lot of situations where I think, like, publicly they bash coaches like a Deion Sanders for holding these guys accountable. And that's the biggest problem we have is that you can't hold these guys accountable. It's crazy to me, bro. Like, you got a lot of good coaches out here that's getting, I'm talking about burnt at the stake. They eat them alive publicly because they take this stance to say, I care more about the character of this young man. Like, he going to be a millionaire in the process. And if he masters this being a good man, all the money gonna come. If you spend your time just chasing the bag, you can gain the bag today and lose the bag tomorrow.
That's because, people so focused on the bag, they want that for everybody else's thing.
Yeah, man. It's unreal. And again, shame on you guys who feel like that is the only way that I can get what I want. I'm gonna throw a tantrum and leave and go to school, from school to school and all that kind of stuff. I have an immense respect for young men, people period, that work their tails off to get what they want. It may not come to you like you want it, but good things come to you when you continue to work hard. 2 examples of that. I want to give a couple quick shout outs before we go on. Curtis Allen from Virginia University. Hardworking young man. Let me say this. Not the ideal story for a person. Most guys think like, because I'm good in high school, I'm good in Pop Warner or good at youth football, I'm going to be good in high school. Or because I'm good in high school, I'm going to be good at college and blah, 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 so forth and so forth. They feel like they're always going to play at the top. Tell you a little story about a guy named Curtis Allen. They calling him the D2 Derrick Henry. 6'2", 215 pounds. He has 1,927 yards rushing in only 9 games. The closest back behind him right now is 568 yards behind him. Last weekend versus Bluefield State, he had 369 yards, 5 tutties, average 14 yards per carry, which is a current record. Last held by Chevon Wright. It was 2,233 yards. Listen to me. This is a young man who with my own two eyes, let me put that out there, saying don't work his ass off. He no complaining. No, this is too difficult. Inquisitive. How do I do this? I really, really want to know. When you see it with your own eyes and know that it can be done, from 12 on up to present day, a senior in college at a D2 school, whooping ass, like convincingly. This is something to be celebrated. Players like that. Ain't no, I'm talented enough. I'm going to take my talents. I'm going to hit the transfer portal. I'm going to go. No, stay put and keep earning and keep getting better. The eyes will come to you when you're talented. That's my message to all young athletes out there. This is young man, Curtis Allen. I'm telling you, listen out for that name because I promise you, that's going to be a Sunday guy. He goes to Virginia Union University, guys. That's a D2 school, and he's working his tail off. He's a senior. Highlight games for this year. Against Shaw University, they beat them 59-7. He had 216 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns on 14 carries. He had 1 big one for 65 yards. Against Lincoln University, they beat them 66-21. He had 208 rushing, 3 touchdowns on 24 carries. Versus Boise State, right here in Maryland, they beat them 24-7. He had 198 rushing yards, 1 touchdown. In the game I just told you about, Bluefield State, they beat them 70-14. That's crazy. 70-14. That dude had 369 rushing, 5 touchdowns, 26 carries. Why do I highlight this? Because this is somebody, again, that I know personally that I can speak to work ethic. It's not, I'm going to fold my arms, I'm going to pout because they don't look the way that I want it. He goes to a D2 school. He ain't bitching because he ain't at Alabama. He ain't bitching because he ain't at LSU or whatever school you think he belong at or whatever the case may be. And no, we don't always know the sum total, the behind the scenes story with these young men, because some of them actually got their heads on straight, like Mr. Allen that I'm talking about. So you got to give kudos to people like that. Another senior at Carey College in Massachusetts, Monty Quinn. Monty Quinn just did something real, real big. He had 20 carries, 522 yards with 7 tutties, 26 yards per carry. NCAA record across all divisions, averaged 240 yards per game. That was last held by Samar J.P. Round. We know who that is. He's a back in the league right now. You know what I mean? And that record was 424 when he was at Oklahoma. Listen to me, 1450. He got 1450 in 6 games. That's back-to-back 1,600-yard seasons. Again, another young man, and that's a D3 school. So if you're talented, they'll come and find you. But this dude is a senior. But again, I think whatever his endeavors are, whatever he wants to do, I'm pretty sure that's a guy that's staying 10 toes down on his craft. The proof is in the pudding. Again, I'm telling you what I know personally. This ain't a story that you're just hearing. there are young men out here who deserve it, and they're coached hard by coaches like myself. I can speak personally. They're coached hard by coaches like a Coach Prime, guys that hold their feet to the fire and let them know, if you ain't winning in the classroom, you're not winning in real life.
Mm-hmm.
You're not winning on the football field. Football is a privilege, and these young men get it. So I definitely want to give them their kudos publicly here on this platform because, again, a lot of local guys, a lot of guys that are, in a small market, ain't nobody singing their praises. So I just wanted to highlight them guys and definitely let them know Coach Jack sees, and Coach Jack is proud of y'all, man. Keep doing what y'all doing, fellas. All right, so let me start. Let me start by changing gears and say that what I'm about to talk about in the conversation that we're about to engage in is tough because we know that a lot of people go through things, and sometimes whatever capacity you serve as a coach, a mentor, friend, whatever, you have to be there for people. Everybody needs somebody, and it's not just relegated to sports, just in life in general. Because even as players, you know what I mean? They got a saying, if you see something, say something. If something don't seem right with somebody, it is quite all right to sit and have a conversation with them and just check on their well-being. Your humanity should always be exemplified all the time. On this week, the Dallas Cowboys and the NFL mourned the loss of Marshawn Nealon. He was 24 years old, and he tragically lost his life. And we don't know all the particulars, and I want to give this story before I get into this part of the show very carefully because I don't know. I'm only going off of what the media has given us. They didn't say it outright, but they're leading to using language like he was in crisis, not outright saying that he took his own life, but people alluding to that. I would say this. Sometimes when we watch NFL games on, Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, whatever day of the week you choose to watch a game, and you watch these athletes as they take the field and they're at the pinnacle, you know what I mean? Like they enjoying their teams winning, they scoring touchdowns, they making sacks, and you see them, they celebrating, the teams celebrate with them, patting them on the helmet. And those moments of bliss, you feel on top of the world. You feel untouchable. There's an invincibility that you feel when you're in that moment. And I've said publicly many times, when I am on the football field, be it playing or coaching, when I'm in the gym, I am in my sanctuary. That is my place of peace. That is my escape from my reality. That's not to say that I don't go through things. Many of you experience the same things in terms of life. Life be lifing for all of us. Job struggles, family struggles, whatever your career is, that business that you're running, whatever you have on your plate, life be lifing. A week ago, the Dallas Cowboys were playing a game, and that young man, Marshawn Nealon, scored a touchdown. They recovered a ball in the end zone for a touchdown. And exactly what I explained to you guys. The team rushes down to celebrate with him and pat him on the helmet and everything like that. And in that moment, if you relegate what you know about him, because publicly we don't know him personally, I'm sure his teammates do, his family, of course, obviously. But when you relegate these things down to a moment, who knows what that young man had going on in his mind? Who knows what struggles he may have been facing as a son, brother, father, whatever he is to someone else, because he certainly means a lot to someone else. Think about your own lives. How would you feel if it was somebody close to you? Some of us have actually experienced that, losing someone that we care about in that manner because they didn't have a sounding board or somebody just to check on them. Some people go through a whole 24-hour day, go through hell and high water, and nobody calls or texts them just to be like, you good? How was your day? Did you eat today? Just to check on them, just to check on their welfare. So let me say here publicly from what's going on in sports and Dos Migos Network, condolences and prayers of comfort and peace to that family, as well as to offer myself as a resource, bro. Like listen, I can't tell nobody what they're going through. I say this to my friends and my teammates. often when we talk because we all go through things, and sometimes, like most people, if you ever played on a team with people and, you forge the brotherhood outside of it, because football has definitely helped me forge the brotherhood, and I'm in a lot of text threads with a lot of guys. I would much rather listen to your problems than to attend your funeral.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wholeheartedly mean that. That's not just relegated to the guys that I know. I'm a coach, and I have many players under my instruction and tutelage. And whatever they got going on, for as much as my knuckleheads get on my nerves because I love them to life, you could bet the last dollar in your pocket if they stop Coach Jack and they in crisis, they just want to talk. I'm going to stop what I'm doing, and Coach Jack going to sit here and listen, and we're going to see if we can't figure this thing out. On God. That's what we finna do. There's never been a time that I have walked by a player seeing them not looking like themselves, and I have not stopped. Those are signs that I now pay attention to for many reasons. In 2019, coaching 14U at Stenbridge, shouts out to the Stenbridge Coach Youth Rec Organization, had a player on my team, Julian Brown. So, bear with me, y'all. I apologize. As a coach, as a father, I ain't never attended a child's funeral. Never. And if you're a parent, then you understand, especially in present day with like social media and stuff like that. Y'all remember they had a term, they were talking about like cyberbullying and all that kind of stuff. It's just so many different things that our kids face that sometimes we might not be privy to because our kids, they kind of, they suppress a lot of stuff and they won't come to us. I was at work one day and somebody called me and was like, you busy? I said, yeah, I'm at work. They tell me, stop, take a break. I need to rap with you for a minute. It's important. And, I listen to them. I go and I sit and they tell me that one of the players on my team, mind you, this is 14U. This is Pee Wee football. These kids ain't even in high school. Tell me that a player of mine took his own life. And it's hard for me. And I'm going to tell y'all why. Because as a father, think about the parent of that child and what they got to go through knowing that they lost a child by their own hand, right? Mm-hmm. And the things that they say that kid goes through. And let me say this, y'all. Fuck all that macho shit, right? Because this is a real moment that I'm sharing with y'all because it hurts. Because man, that's a baby, man. Mm-hmm. Shorty didn't get a chance to experience none of the extreme high points that you hit when you hit that next portion of your life in high school. And man, that rocked me to my core, bro. Because like I said, I ain't never been in no child funeral to that point in my life, man. Never. And again, y'all know how I go, man. When people pass away, if you're not in the know, you're gonna hear a bunch of different stories. It could have been this, it could have been that, you know what I mean? So you hear things about like the cyberbullying and people was teasing them and all that kind of stuff. Like I remember like it was yesterday, and because of this happened, and Coach Matt Rule of, I believe, Nebraska, he's the coach in Nebraska. He was saying, like, sharing his story about a player that played for him that, ended his own life due to whatever. The pressures of life, my larger point, because it's hurting me right now talking about it, because you can only imagine, man, and it's not until you've been in those shoes that you will really know if you ever lost a loved one or anything like that, man. It just hurts, bro. And from a coaching standpoint, it's somebody that you were imparting wisdom in their life. You were charged with being one of the positive influences in their life. You were charged with looking after their well-being when they were in your care and everything like that. You always left with a feeling of, could I have done more? Is it something more that I could have said to encourage them, to reassure them? Is it something like these thoughts are real thoughts? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what Mr. Nealon's, day-to-day interaction was at work when he got to the facility in Dallas. I don't know what that was like on a day-to-day. I don't know if he got a chance to talk to Jerry Jones regularly or Dak Prescott regularly or whomever, whomever the faces of Dallas are. We don't know what his relationship was. We know in team sports, you're in proximity with them guys every day. Who sat next to him in the lunchroom? Who sat next to him on the training table when they had treatment? Who, you know what I mean? You ask yourself all these questions because it's just such a disheartening thing. And so, I definitely understand that standpoint because of the experience that I had, my own personal, again, that was a baby, that was a child. So my larger point is, from youth football. This was youth sports. And again, it's certainly not just relegated to sports, believe you me, just in general. Mental health is a huge thing in this country that now people are starting to become more aware of it and talk about it. But not everybody really dives into it, you know what I mean? So if you play team sports, I mean, hell, if you got a heart and, you know, humanity, stop and just talk to people, man. It don't cost you nothing. Our energy and our time is the most precious and priceless resource that we possess. It's absolutely nothing to sit and check on the well-being of another. What now? Be clear. Whether you get it or not, what you do has nothing to do with anybody else. We make decisions in this life. You know, and it's a hurtful thing, you know, as I'm sitting here with Tony, you know what I mean, before, and transparency, before the camera started rolling, we was just kind of talking about that in short and just like sharing our experiences, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a sobering thing to know that you see somebody, you share quarters with somebody, and then to find out that they're no longer here for whatever reason. Because again, we know people pass on and transition, you know, for far more reasons other than, you know, suicide or taking their own life. But just to know that you share quarters with somebody, then bam, they're gone. It's a hurtful thing. So in terms of this story here, as a regards to this story, I just wanted to just you know, appeal to not just sports fans, but everyone. Just appeal to your humanity. A lot of people got a lot of stuff going on. You know, we know what's going on right now, the job freeze with, you know, government workers and everything like that. Life for everybody, bro. You got families that's less fortunate that depended on, like, you know, like the SNAP benefits and all that kind of stuff. Some folks ain't making the bread, you know what I mean, where they thought that they had it, the economy, everything going up, but how much you make. It's just so many different moving parts to it, and life is life for everybody. So you never know what one is going through. So, you know, piece of advice that I would offer anyone: find your village, find your tribe, the people that, you know, are truly there for you, 10 toes down, good, bad, and indifferent. Root yourself in spirituality, you know what I mean? Get in tune with the creator, whomever you pay your bow to, you know what I mean? Like, respectfully, I can't tell a person what to do, but you got to find yourself rooted in something, you know what I mean? Find a connection with God, because there is a God. Whether you want to believe that or not, Coach Jack is saying that to you publicly. This is a serious thing, and I would not be anywhere where I wouldn't have any of the success that I have now had it not been for my deep spirituality, being rooted in, you know, my beliefs, and as much as I pray in those things. I think that in connection with my hard work has put me in a place that I am. So I'm thankful for those that stand 10 toes down with me in those efforts. Again, forgive me, y'all, and bear with me, because that's a hard thing to deal with. And my prayers really do go out to that family and anybody else who's ever experienced that. Tony, you ever experienced anything like that, man?
Suicide, yes. I definitely have experienced suicide in my family, close and friends. And it definitely has changed. Definitely rocked me in the beginning. Definitely rocked me. You get shaken up. You ask yourself, maybe I should have, like you said, called, stayed longer. So much questions.
Yeah.
But I'm working through all that. Yeah, I'm working through it.
Yeah, man. I'm getting ready to get into the local hype part, and this local hype is definitely going to be much different than normal. But I definitely wanted to speak on that part and hammer in on this part, because mental health, like I said, this is such a big thing in this country. And again, people are now becoming more aware and actually going to seek therapy. And I'll be totally transparent. I was one of those ones at first who didn't believe in, you know, the therapy thing at first. You know, I do believe that we have being rooted in your religion, you know, most of us feel like, you know, we can pray our problems away and everything like that. But being older and more mature now, I understand that, you know, God put people in place to help you through your problem. You know what I mean? He gave us doctors and psychologists and all that kind of stuff for a reason. So please, ma'am, sir, anybody under the sound of my voice, you know, if it's something that you got going on and this is hard and you don't feel like you can handle these things alone, you know what I'm saying, bro? Just find somebody to talk to. You know what I mean? It's just very important. To my favorite part of the show, local hype. So I get on here and I highlight people all the time that do great work in the community, businesses, schools, students, teachers, people that work hard in the community. And for the last few weeks, I've consistently shouted out close friend of me for over a decade, Mr. Andre Williams. Listen to me, y'all. This man is a clinical psychologist and a great sounding board. This is not your ordinary local hype because, again, I'm hammering this point because mental health is such a big thing and being very intentional because Andre is like I said, a personal friend of mine and has helped me in a multitude of ways. He's a staff sergeant in the United States Army, deployed to Iraq, Kosovo, and Bosnia. And if y'all know anything about, you know, the armed forces and how it works, those people are under immense pressure. You know what I mean? To being foreign land and, you know, sometimes you're being looked at as the villain, you know what I mean? With the possibility that you may not even make it back with your life. I always salute Dre for his service. Respectfully, man. I call him Dre, you know what I mean? Mr. Williams, to those there. But I respect this brother because all the things that I'm talking about now in terms of humanity, I see him do this thing, and I've witnessed this with my own eyes. And I've been the recipient of those very actions that I'm talking about with me just having a bad day or a rough go of it or a loss of a game or whatever. And he just always been there with encouraging words or how can I help you? He always says that, like when I be like, man, I appreciate you. His standard response is always, hey, bro, I'm here to help. He always says that. There's never been a time, hey, bro, I appreciate you, man. Thank you. Hey, bro, I'm here to help. That's a standard response when you say thank you to him.
Mm-hmm.
Standard response. And he's just always been a stand-up guy. I need people to reach out to Mr. Williams, man. Like, you can reach him at 443-957-1102. Again, that's 443-957-1102. You can reach him at www.transit.health. People, please look up the website. You can get so much. So, give you a little bit of background about Transit Health. Transit Health is a Christian-based and Black-owned group of psychologists. They have 7 therapists that work in the office. They offer in-person and virtual service. So for those that, you know, you may not be able to travel because they're located in Linthicum. So if you don't feel like you want to travel to Linthicum for your sessions, they definitely have a virtual option where you can sit and talk to someone at length, you know, on your computer, on your phone, whatever your device you're choosing. But you got somebody that can sit there and talk through your situations, or they can just be a sounding board for you. But Dre is just one of them ones, man. Like, his biggest thing, you know, getting into this profession, y'all, we just said, man, you don't have to struggle alone. And I can definitely tell you, as I stated before, you know, with his service to our country in the United States Army, every day I see him, you know, walking the grounds of Kenwood High School where we both serve as coaches. I make jokes about Dre, and I say I call him the drill sergeant, you know what I mean? Because quite literally, he goes from 0 to 100, you know what I mean? But it's all from a good and healthy place. He cares about the well-being of these young men far beyond the football field. And again, he exudes that. That's why he's so hard on them. But I've also seen that balance, that duality where it's like, jokingly, I can tell you a story just last night. You know, we had our playoff game last night, and I'll get to that in a moment, in my yes, Lord moment. But we had a game last night, and he chewed one of our players out, just, you know, bonehead move on the field. And then he went to talk back, and then Dre just like lit into him. And as the player walked away to the bench, Swain, shouts out to Swain turned around and looked at Dre, and he was like, gonna show him some love. But Dre was already in motion to doing that. And I think that's one of the things that's so dope about Dre. He's not one of those tear you down to keep you down type guys. So I definitely wanted to shout him out. But again, guys, please reach out to Transit Health and Brother Dre. Reach him, again, 443-957-1102. And you can reach him at www.transit.health. Please, you do not have to face your problems alone. Please support what they have going on. A 15-minute consultation is free where you can talk to somebody, you be it in person or virtual, but they offer, consultation. So definitely reach out to them. You know what I mean? If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, again, nobody has to know your business. You got somebody that you can go and talk to and tell them Coach Jack sent you.
Oh, and I can give you some insight. I've been taking therapy for the last 2 months.
Word.
And I had to be on a waiting list for about 4 months before I was able to get a session with the therapist. And it's pretty easy going. It's pretty nice talking to somebody and just having someone to talk to that you don't really know, that's not giving you any judgment and can give you some solid, great advice. It was pretty easy. With the virtual one, did it on my phone. I actually parked. I was driving, parked in the Wawa's parking lot, and had my session, my therapy session, for an hour.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only. She said, "Don't worry about it. You're not the only person who I've done a session in the Wawa's parking lot. Besides, everybody's parked their car and stayed there for like an hour somewhere.
Yeah.
So it was easy. I could, and then the other one, I did it at my home, in my own private space, on my laptop, and I've done it on my phone, in my at the restaurant before when it was just me. So it's pretty easy to do the therapy with the new virtual feature.
Yeah.
Scheduling is easy, and it's really good to have somebody to talk about past issues. You get to really talk to somebody about past traumas and start healing, learning how to do things. Like one activity I'm doing today is one suggested from my therapist. So yeah, go out and get yourself better.
Yeah. I definitely can attest to that. I've literally witnessed during camp even, Coach Dre, he's at camp and he'll go off. If anybody's ever been to Kenwoodsville, on the visitor side, there's like the little perch for them to shoot video camera next to where the scorekeeper sits. Dre go up, park himself right there with his device, doing his virtual thing. Like, he's still present at practice. We know he's there. But the one good thing I do appreciate about that is the fact that nobody's being slighted. Everybody wins. Because while Coach Dre's still at practice, we know what he's dealing with, meaning coaches and players, and nobody's telling him not to do his job. But he still wants to let us know. Like, he could easily sit home and in his office and do his thing. But it's like, no, I want you guys to know I'm present here. So again, kudos to Coach Dre and all the great work that he does in terms of, being a therapist. And I'm pretty sure he's helping so many people. They definitely have a good person in that corner to be that sounding board. So kudos to you again, my brother. The yes, Lord moment. Man. Yesterday, the Kenwood Bluebirds, we ended our season with a tough loss in the playoffs to the Prairie Hall Gators. Kudos to the Prairie Hall Gators. Bittersweet ending, I would definitely say. But my yes, Lord moment comes here. We had a chance to make something of that game, even in the loss. Got a chance to see who our team really is in essence. We celebrated our seniors on yesterday because that was their last football game in their high school career. The reality is some of them will never put on the pads again. Some of them will go on to college and be able to play at a next level. But the reality is it culminated in, experiences, things that they got to encounter and experience that some may never. I had a moment. Shouts out to one of the seniors, one of my guys, EJ. Let me tell y'all something about EJ. EJ probably the most passionate dude you ever seen him. EJ, short guy, but he big heart. You know what I mean? See him out there on the field, he ain't scared of nothing. How he play. And in the fourth quarter, we changed offenses, and he was sitting on the bench, and he had his head down. He was trying to get himself together. You know what I mean? He was going through it. And when I looked at him, I knew right away what he was going through. I'm like, I believe it to be. He didn't say this. This is just me making an observation as a coach. I could see the reality was setting in on him. This is my last high school game. You know what I mean? The eyes were red. You can tell he had been crying. It was like, then we're losing. You know what I mean? It was just like, I'm I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at this motherfucking team. You know what I mean? Like, you could see that. He didn't say that verbatim, but his attitude just gave you that. He wasn't quitting on nothing. He didn't, you know what I mean? And as I was walking by, I was on my way. I was about to go get a bottle of water. You know, he was about to call the timeout. I was about to go get a bottle of water for the guys coming to the numbers. And I saw him, and I stopped in my tracks, and I sat next to him. I threw my arm around him, and I asked him, I said, "You good?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I was like, tell me what's wrong. I wanted him to verbalize what I already knew. And he basically, verbatim, he's like, "Yo, shit just hurt. Like, it's the last one." You know? And I asked him this question. I said, "Do you feel like you gave your all?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Then you have nothing to hang your head about." Like, I get the feeling of this being your last one. I get that you're not going to be able to run your boys every day like you once was and all that kind of stuff. These are moments that we share as a team. I was glad I was able to share that moment with EJ. EJ's not one of the players that I talk to on an everyday. Like, yeah, in passing, we speak, you know, shake him out. Good young man, right? His father, you know, good dude. Shouts out to Big Eric, you know what I mean? Like, good dude. And with EJ, it's a little different because, like, he is one of the team leaders. He's the one of the guys that kind of, like, can spark the offense when he get to talking his shit and how he carries it. So sharing that moment with him as a senior, just knowing that, like, I wanted him to understand that I care and I know and I see what you're dealing with. Reese, the same one. Shouts out to Reese. Oy. Last night, Greedy scored a touchdown. Greedy went out lineman. Greedy in the backfield. When I say he went and he steamrolled, I mean, it was just like he been playing running back for years. You know what I'm saying? Dang gave it all he could until he couldn't, you know what I mean? Shoulder injury, you know what I mean? But he came out and he scored a touchdown as well. You know what I'm saying? Just David was unable to play. David got hurt at the Parkville game, but David was there. You know, Keith, Jeremiah, just, bro, our senior class definitely just, they put on, man. They put on. And the other side to that is the underclassmen who taking up the mantle next year, getting out there to see young ones like, you know, Jermaine, who's a freshman, Sean, who's a sophomore, Razier, who's a freshman, Devin, who's a sophomore. These guys next year have an opportunity to try to, you know, rewrite the wrongs that we had this year. You know what I mean? Like, everybody just contributed. It was no, like, down moment. It wasn't any negativity, like what you would expect in a loss. Sometimes teams kind of implode sometimes. That wasn't the experience yesterday. That wasn't the vibe. That wasn't the atmosphere. And my yes, Lord moment is simply to celebrate the team in total for, completing the season. Most people just quit. Most people be like, my team don't got to win a record, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to quit. Because a lot of kids aren't mentally tough. They don't have the toughness internally, the heart to continue. But for the guys who made it through to the finish line, the JV guys who got the chance and the experience to move up and actually get some gang reps in certain situations with the varsity, I think that was big for them. And it boosted their confidence to know that, hey, I can play here. I can do this. I can be better. And for me as a coach, it's nothing sort of amazing. And I'm one of those people that, I'm a thorough student of the game. That's not just to talk X and O's. Shouts out to Coach Swain, Coach Dre, as I just mentioned, Coach Allen, Coach Curry, Coach Knight, Coach Marie, that entire staff, man. Coach P, bro. We have a dope staff, and I appreciate each one of them guys. I'm going to say that publicly as well, because as a unit, Coach Vega, excuse me, forgive me, and Coach Vega. We have a unit of coaches that, you know, we come from all different backgrounds. Our commonality obviously is family and football. We're all family men. We love football, and we care about the kids in our community and helping them become good young men. And each person has a different way that they connect with the players. The thing that I appreciate the most is sometimes I take my position and sit from afar just to watch how they operate, because I kind of take those effective ways, because I know sometimes I can just be all iron fist. That's me. And I'm trying to learn to incorporate the balance in it. And I see how sometimes, you know, Swain can take the fatherly approach. As I mentioned some episodes ago when I was joking Swain, I said, how Swain talks to, I just use Clint or Greedy as an example because they linemen, they can take the harsh coaches because that's how Swain talked to them. But I stand corrected. One time this year, only one time did I see him hear him raise his voice at Jaime.
Okay.
But my point was this: how he coaches Jaime versus those guys is different. You know what I mean? The approach that he takes with him. But only one time did I hear him raise his voice and go at Jaime for something that was crazy. And the crazy part, it wasn't in the game, it was at practice. But my point is, the hard coaching, you don't have to do that with everybody. And Jaime obviously is one of those guys you don't have to do that with. But it was just kind of funny to see. And in that moment when it was happening, I thought to myself, like, oh shit, well, I guess he does yell at Jaime too.
Yeah.
But it was funny in that moment. But my point is, Swain understands the balance, like how I can communicate with said player. I can talk to this player this way, but versus that one, I ain't gonna jump in this shit because again, he probably gonna shut down or you know what I mean? And you find him breaking that down to us, like communicating that with us. So when we have our coaches huddles for a moment to talk about how we gonna do this, he'll ask, you know what I mean? Hey, you think is this player capable of doing this? Because I want this is the idea I want to get. Who can fit this mold? Like he takes that intel, and that's what we do. So I think we have a good, solid coaching staff. Shouts out to Coach Curry, who's been like my ace in the hole this whole year. He picked up to take over the offensive play calling duties from our former OC, Coach Shavar. Shouts out to Coach Var over at Lock Raven High School. He took over the play calling duties this year's offensive coordinator, and he definitely has been a breath of fresh air. I've coached at programs where, you know, I was essentially like the only coach. I've had assistants, but again, you know how it is. They say if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself. This dude has been a model of what a coach is supposed to be. He ain't out there pounding on his chest. He shows that he has a wealth of knowledge, and I am always the coach. I'm going to give you full autonomy to do because I don't believe in micromanaging, and he's been a guy to show that he's up to the task. So kudos to you, Coach Curry. I appreciate you. Same with Coach P. Coach P took over for Coach Jen for the the defensive play calling duties. Shouts out to Coach Jen. She took a college coaching job. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like I was in a very, very fortunate position to gain a great staff, you know what I mean, this year and continue the manner of development. So I know this was a rather lengthy local hype and yes love moment, but I did not want to go off air and not give these people their kudos and their props because it's been a rocky season. The crazy part is the real work just beginning because as soon as one season ends, the next season begins. So shouts out to all of y'all. Thank y'all again for tuning in for this episode of What's Going On in Sports. Thank you guys for your continued support, your likes, shares, follows, comments, your feedback. Guys, I do have a challenge for you with this episode. In the comments, I definitely want you guys to comment your name, your city that you're watching from, your favorite football team. Just conducting a little experiment here. And anything throughout the show that I said that you like, dislike, agree, disagree with, feel free to comment on that. Coach Jack don't mind being challenged. I mean, that's the whole premise of this. This is open and free space for anyone who wants to talk any and all things sports, mainstream and local. So shouts out to everybody. Thank y'all for watching. Coach Jack signing out. Peace and love, y'all.